Welcome back to Growth Perspective. I have Brian McCollough here from NextStage Fractional LLC. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Perfect. Can't complain. We'll just start off by I'll let you introduce yourself and tell us a little about your background and your education and kind of what brought you to where you're at today, man.
Oh man, that's a pretty loaded question.
It is,
Um,
isn't it?
I'm a mechanical engineer, and I started my career uh, doing product design and development for the U.S. military and the dairy industry, and then you kind of grow and evolve, and I got involved in oil and gas, and you've just worked my way up in different leadership and management positions. Um, that evolution means I needed to get an MBA because I didn't
Mhm.
understand financials. I didn't understand the soft skills, management, leadership, accountability. And so I did that for a bit. And then we had COVID that hit, and COVID put me in a position of having to do something else. And I moved into the consultant or fractional world and trying to help smaller companies that can't afford a chief operating officer um, come in there and help them put structure in place and leadership. And in particular, I stuck with entrepreneurial operating system. So I would come in as a what they call a fractional integrator, and that grew and evolved to also including the M&A world, because a lot of
Mhm.
times EOS is really a great operational cadence tool, but it doesn't have very good vision or focus. And so to add a bit of that, you start to look at, oh, hey, if I'm going to sell the company or I'm going to exit, what are some of the things that are important that I should have in place? And those same things that you should have in place are the same things that great companies have in place.
Wow. And so Um, I guess you did evolve from engineering to now you're more pretty much heading up the business side of things. Is that correct then?
Yeah, so it's more of a business engineer is probably a really good definition of it because you're trying to look at the different pieces of the puzzle and decide if that company has those pieces of the puzzle. And then if they don't, you're using a tool to look at, hey, what did you do great last year and where did
Mm-hmm.
you miss? And if we
Mm-hmm.
take a look and we focus on the misses, we can
Mm-hmm.
identify structural errors with the company. For instance, um, maybe their gross margin was really high, and so they weren't
Mm-hmm.
profitable. And
Mm-hmm.
you can kind of weave your way by asking a whole bunch of questions, and you turn around and they don't have a professional bookkeeper
Right.
and their books don't have enough resolution for them to be able to see where all their money is going. And so
Okay.
because of that, their efficiency isn't very good. So they don't know where they're spending money. And so that's an
Wow.
issue of, okay, hey, let's fix your accounting system and redo your ledger of accounts so that
Mm-hmm.
you have more resolution and see where all the money's going. And then let's take a look at things a little bit more than maybe once every 4, 5, 6 weeks. Every week let's look at some key drivers.
Right. Wow. And so as you mentioned, it sounds like you're open to a lot of different types of industries. Like which industries do you mostly focus on? You were talking about a few of them, but which ones are your kind of main key ones, or you're not limited to that?
Well, I'm not limited to that. I'm agnostic because the books are the books, and some
Yes.
of the leadership stuff is leadership stuff. But because I'm an engineer and because I've been in manufacturing, it's
Hmm.
very easy for me to speak that language and understand it. Whereas if you throw me into a lawyer's office or a doctor's
Hmm.
office, that's a much more difficult environment for me to hop into and really effectively zero in on issues. Because the issues are a little bit different, right? On the
Sure.
manufacturing shop floor, we're very concerned about how much throughput, how much work did
Hmm.
we done today, and how
Hmm.
much of that was actually good work.
Hmm.
So it's a little different when you talk about an attorney or a doctor, which, they have the same stuff too, right? They have to
Right.
produce a certain amount of revenue each week as well. So,
For sure. For sure. Excellent. And so, as far as kind of the need, are you seeing a big need out there for your type of offerings of what you're trying to do?
yeah, that's another interesting question because there is definitely a need for what I'm doing. You get business owners are very tenacious, and that's how they got to where they're at. You know,
Hmm.
they struggle. They had a vision. They have a product or service they think is missing out there. But there's a point where they get to where they can't do everything.
Hmm.
So the owner has to realize that and be able to realize they need to do something differently to be able to open the door for somebody like me to help them out. If not, I can't help them because they want to do everything themselves. They feel
Sure.
they got to do everything themselves, and so they're not very. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but they're not very introspective. You know, they're not kind of sitting there thinking about how do I do things better. So yeah, there is. It's just there's a lot of very strong personalities involved. So it's
Hmm.
difficult for them to um, realize that they need a little bit of help.
Right. And so obviously, being their baby, and they've got to where they've gone to and such, and then you're coming here saying, "Well, have you know?" And then, um, so how do you find these folks then? I mean, are they coming to you? Are you marketing out to like folks, or how do you kind of get your name out there?
Um, well, so let me step back to that first question just a little bit more
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
there's other stuff that's in play there. There's so many consultants and fractional people out there that a lot of them, you know, they aren't producing at the right level, or they're you know they call themselves a COO, but they don't have the experience to kind of do that. And one of the hurdles I run up against that I was really bad at in the beginning, you can't tell people what to do. And you know, you kind of come in there because you've seen so much. You want to go, you got to do this and this. All you can really do is go, look, you've got some problems here. You know, I would start here. It's up to you. You know, you
Right.
pick and choose what you
Right.
want to do. I'll help you get there, but it's up to you to get it done. Because and that's part of the problem with trying to open up that world and get in there is you just have to be very careful of how you do that, right? Because it's their
Right.
world.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so then back to that other question, it's all word of mouth. It's networking. I've got a website. I'm on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
But you got to network, go talk to people. And the centers of influence, you got to get to the right ones who understand and appreciate what it is you do. Operational leadership is really a difficult subject and it's really
Hmm.
misunderstood. Everybody knows what a CPA does. They know what a wealth
Hmm.
manager does. They know
Hmm.
what all those people do. But the operational leadership stuff, a lot of people don't know what that is and don't oftentimes don't appreciate it. If that
Understood.
makes sense.
No, no, it makes perfect sense. I mean, well, I mean, go ahead and elaborate on what they may be missing that, you're able to kind of come in and kind of open their eyes to and such.
Well, I think it's like if you go to buy a house, you know,
Hmm.
if you're emotionally attached to that house, how beautiful it is in the area, you just
Hmm.
don't see everything. And
Hmm.
it's the same with their baby. They put so much effort and work into their business, and they don't see everything. They're emotionally attached. So you're coming in from the outside looking in, and it's very easy to be unemotional and go, look, you know,
Sure.
you brought your landscaper up and they're doing your books and they don't have any formal education. You know, that
Hmm.
may work now, but you know, you're hitting that 15, $20 million mark. You need a little bit more sophistication in there.
Right.
Uh, you know, you're involved in every aspect of the business. You're working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day.
Hmm.
You know, you need to delegate. So you just got to kind of come in there. It's not rocket science. There's some
Hmm.
fundamentals in there. Hey, you're not giving people clear definitions of what their job is.
Hmm.
You're talking to them in these nebulous terms like profitability and customer experience. Most people don't know what that is. You
Right.
gotta you gotta tell them that hey, the shop floor has to produce so much work, so many dollars of work today,
Hmm.
and you know,
Right.
and that's it. So it's pretty straightforward. So, um, yeah, did that answer the question or not?
Yeah, yeah. So it seems like you go there, you have to kind of somewhat even educate them a little bit on certain important factors that have to be part of their business, right?
Well, yeah, and the way you do that though is through the way that I approach it is through issue resolution. So you walk in
Hmm.
there, you can't tell people that they need a new roof or
Sure.
you know they need to replace the floor over here because they're just not going to listen. But you
Hmm.
if you come into it where hey, the shop floor we need to produce $200,000 worth of work a week.
Hmm.
We're only producing $100,000 worth of work and you start to have conversations and you start to talk to them and you find out that their scrap rate is like 50%.
Hmm.
And you find out, well, why is the scrap rate too high? And
Right.
you start to dig into that problem and you kind of find out that, they're making parts that they had no business making.
Mm.
Okay, so now you kind of present that to the owner and go, okay, I mean, here, or the team, the leadership team, right?
Sure.
Here's what we're finding. How do we solve that, you guys?
Hmm.
And they're going to come up with a solution that's going to pull you down a path of what they need to do. And so
Hmm.
now they're buying into what you're telling them rather than you go, oh, you need an ERP system or you need a new accountant.
Right.
You're developing a solution for a problem. Go, okay, well, here's the way to solve that problem.
Right. A lot of times they don't even know that problem was actually even there, but you have to have with new set of eyes to say, hey, what about this avenue, which could be a better path for you guys, right? A
Yeah,
resolution.
you're trying to guide them down a path, and you're asking why a whole bunch of times, and
Sure.
hopefully, it's hard, but hopefully you get to a point where they're like, oh my gosh, I see the problem right now.
Right. Right. And the best way is for them to realize it and them to make the decision and okay, cool. And then you're the vehicle to help them get what they want to do, right?
Yeah, yeah. So then I could take it the next level.
Hmm.
Okay, let me bring somebody in to help you manage that aspect because a lot of stuff is they're not very good at getting things done.
Hmm.
So then you need to bring in a piece of the puzzle to help hold them accountable to get that
Sure.
done, or an outside consultant. I just have to be super, super careful because they want to pull me into the weeds.
Hmm.
I get pulled into the weeds, then I lose perspective.
Sure. 100%, right? Because now you're
Yeah.
seeing things they see them and they're trying to bring you in as a new set of eyes. I got you for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Well, and you don't have the time to look at anything else because,
Oh, for sure.
yeah, they're wanting you to do the work. Like, well, wait a second.
Hmm.
I mean,
Got it. Wow.
I can do the work for you, but then you never learn anything, and then you
Right.
never truly solve this problem.
Interesting. Very good. I understand. And so to switch it up just a little bit, how how is kind of what are you seeing kind of in your industry trend wise? Is there certain things happening that are kind of making you have to adjust the way you guys are doing things, or what are you guys noticing?
Yeah, the biggest thing in our COVID has put a lot of consultants out into the world.
Hmm.
So I think that's the biggest hurdle, that I'm running across is how do I differentiate myself?
Hmm.
And then I'm also really focused on keeping it local because we have so much worldwide influence through the internet and Zoom and all this
Hmm.
other stuff.
Hmm.
But Houston is such a big area. I think there's just a lot more impact by being there in person. You get the exchange.
The
So yeah,
one-on-one.
yeah, it's just a very competitive market, so that's the big deal. Tons of baby boomers now are getting ready to sell businesses, or they have
Hmm.
been. Um, so that's an opportunity. How do you connect with them? Again, you
Right.
got a huge hurdle because they think they know everything, and they kind of,
Right.
hey, at the end of the day, I just put a sign up in the yard and I'm ready to sell.
Hmm.
But the reality
Right.
is only like 2 out of 10 businesses that go to market actually sell because
Oh wow.
they're not ready. They're not ready. And it's nothing, it's no rocket science, it's just not ready. Kind of
No.
you go back to the bookkeeping thing example.
Right. Right.
They have a person who's not qualified doing the books, and
Hmm.
then this person who wants to buy your business comes in to look at the books, but they can't read or understand them,
Right.
so
I
they walk
understand.
away,
Yeah.
or
Not
they
knowing
don't
the
give
true
it.
value of it because of it's not delivered in the way that they can interpret it, right?
Yeah, yeah, and then half the people are going to go, "That's too much work. I'm leaving."
Right. Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
Uh,
Wow.
what else? And it's just evolving. Trying
Hmm.
to develop your skill set and evolve how I approach like this new method of, trying to listen more than I talk and hopefully
Hmm.
get that business owner to tell me some of the issues they're having and
Right.
let's see if we can solve those.
Got it. So is the frustration, is there any frustration for you guys as a company as far as like, growth or getting the business or like, is that
It's
what's
hard.
kind of,
Yeah,
yeah?
the pipeline is very difficult. LinkedIn is flooded with
Hmm.
consultants.
Hmm.
And everybody's using AI. And so
Hmm.
it's so darn hard to differentiate yourself. Even if you create content and stuff, it's really difficult. So the pipeline is the biggest issue. The other thing is, you're going to networking events, and those networking events, they're attended by all consultants. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, you make these really great relationships, but they're trying to do the same thing you're trying to do, which is find.
Right. Right. So it is, there's a lot of people out there. So how is that making you think about adjusting your game? Are you thinking about expanding beyond Houston a little bit or do more stuff on the online level or what's kind of
No,
your
'cause, Houston's the fourth, I think it's the fourth largest metropolitan area in the United
hmm
States. So
hmm
there's really no reason for me to reach beyond these borders.
hmm
My approach is a little bit more old school, and it's like, hey, I can come to your facility, I can meet you face to face. Um, and then it's adjusting who I'm communicating with, the centers of influence. If I'm going to talk to somebody, they need to have good relationship with business owners. So some of the wealth managers and some of the other people that are actually, have business owners you're talking to so that they
hmm
can introduce me.
Got it. So role based and things of those manners kind of help you kind of keep going. Okay. So what does your like at a given day, what does your general day kind of look like at this point?
Um, well, I think it just depends on what the engagement looks like.
Mhm.
So if we're doing leadership meetings,
hmm
then you're online, or you're there in person doing a leadership
hmm
meeting. You're out there doing networking events. So we have several different networking groups here in Houston that I attend, and you're doing those type of events. You have people reaching out to you, so you're
hmm
establish those relationships with them.
Fantastic. Okay. And then your company, I guess, this is your company, yes?
Yeah, yes, it is.
And then how many folks do you have in your company currently?
There are three of us currently. So I have
Nice.
a couple consultants and we each have different areas that we really focus on, different personalities that fit as a better fit for clients.
Nice. Excellent. And so how many, in the grand scheme of things, how many clients can you guys maybe handle at a time, or have you reached that threshold yet?
Oh, it depends on the work we're doing. So if it's just this assessment where I'm coming in there and go, okay,
hmm
hey, what do you think I'm good at? What am I not so good at? What do you think I'm worth? Um,
hmm
you can take on a lot of those clients. I don't have a lot because the engagement is pretty short. But if
hmm
it's an EOS engagement, you can only handle probably three or four of those types of engagements because you're just, it's one day-ish a week that you're dealing with those companies. So you can only handle so much with
Right,
those.
right.
Um,
Excellent.
yeah.
So you guys are staying pretty busy right now, or is it different seasons that you're busier than others, or how does
Uh,
it generally work?
we would love more work.
Who
I
wouldn't,
think,
right? So that's kind of
yeah,
where we're at.
yeah, I don't, we're not as busy as much as we would like to. I don't know if that's the political stuff, that, we came out
Mm,
of election and all that stuff has got people a little uneasy. But no, would love more work.
okay, very good. Um, and so I guess at this point, uh, the future, like goals wise for yourselves, like, 6 to 12 months, I'm sure you probably did at the beginning of the year, assessment and goals and things. Like, what are some of the things that you guys want to accomplish as a team in the next 6 to 12 months then? Right.
We would love to pick up, gosh, I think it's two clients per month to
hmm
start these assessments, and then
hmm
put the things in because we're basically as a general contractor is the goal that
hmm
we're trying to do. You come in there
hmm
and you do these assessments, and then you drop the people in place to fix or help them with whatever because it could be
hmm
different people, right? And you
hmm
consultants don't play well together. So and
Of course.
they're all focused on their deals. So that's the key is to get them to work
hmm
together and move in the same direction and support each other. So that's kind
hmm
of, you do this assessment, you figure out, hey, these are the help you need, and then you manage that progress. Um,
Okay.
and so it's a mix of more moving from being in the ground, working as an EOS integrator type of deal,
hmm
to this higher level spot of doing these assessments and helping them, hey, here are the things you need to get in place, and then bringing the people in to do some of that work for you.
Right. So exactly. So the assessment allows you to set the stage for your further services, right? So you want to be able to
Yeah.
get in there and meet with two more per month, or you want to meet with more because you can't close all of them, but to be able to get more in the pipeline. Is that
Yeah, yeah.
correct?
We would love to pick up two. I mean, we've got to meet with quite a bit more than that, but would love to
Yeah.
pick up two new clients uh, a month. And and the big thing is to leverage we have so many great people doing fractional consulting work out here
Hmm. Hmm.
that I've met over the years and the other people have met. We want to use those people, pull them together, work as a team, and really help some of these business owners.
So even like do some combined forces and stuff, and
Yeah.
because you know where other, I guess, companies excel in certain avenues, and then maybe pass some business your way as like yo, scratch my back, I scratch yours type of thing.
Well, kind of, yeah. It's just their specialties, right? I
Yeah.
can't go in there and do the accounting work. So I
Mhm.
need to have a CFO or someone on the accounting side. So I use a fractional person to come help me fix that system. Sales,
Right.
marketing, the same thing is bring somebody in to help me with those systems.
Right.
So it depends on or HR or
Hmm.
culture. You know,
Hmm.
you got to bring specialists in to help you fix those particular systems if they want that help.
Right. And then yourself focus more. I mean, your strength is in those manufacturing companies is kind of where your more, I guess your niche area kind of is a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
is a lot of that in Houston? Like, there's a lot of that going on in Houston's a huge place, obviously, right? I haven't
Oh,
been
it's
there before,
huge, and,
but
and yeah, we have a ton. One of the things we're facing here is we have all the oil and gas
oh
uh,
yes,
work, and oil and gas is like a roller coaster. So a lot of manufacturing entities are trying to pick up aerospace or medical or different types of work,
sure.
and it's a huge hurdle because they're used to working at a much slower pace. And
Mm.
you have Industry 5.0 and all this other stuff of trying to reshore all this manufacturing.
Hmm.
You're not going to be able to compete if you can't figure out how to produce at a higher rate.
Oh wow. And
So
so there's a lot of smaller companies supporting these massive companies too, I'm guessing, right? Because they all need those
yeah, they
infrastructure.
do. But as they get a little bit more sophisticated. So look, my sweet spot is 5 to 50 million is where I
Hmm.
like to work. Anything below 5 million, they just don't have the money and the infrastructure to do a lot of stuff.
Right.
Um,
Right.
that's kind of my sweet spot that I like to jump in there and help them. And above 50 million, now we start to get pretty sophisticated.
Right.
A lot of times they have the tools in place because they got to 50 million.
Sure.
So
Sure. They got probably infrastructure that may be able to do certain things that you're offering those smaller companies, right?
right,
Got
right.
it. Excellent. Wow. So I mean, definitely from what you're telling me, I mean, Houston, like I said, is huge. There's obviously a lot of money there because of the huge oil and gas always gonna be huge no matter what. They got NASA, aerospace. So you're in a great city for you know, finding opportunity to be able to do well in your own business with it, right? So that's pretty
Yeah,
amazing.
and I don't mind. I shouldn't say it. I've had clients in New York. I've had clients in
Yeah.
California. So in
Hmm.
Utah, I've had people throughout the world. The United States. So I
Hmm.
don't
Hmm.
mind doing that. It's just I like to be in person sometimes.
Sure.
So I think
Sure.
there's something substantial to that. So
No, got it.
yeah.
Excellent. And so, as far as kind of, well, let me take a little break real quick and just give you, because I'm just giving you questions, you're answering amazingly. Is there certain things you want to get out of this particular podcast that you kind of message you want to put out there, or certain things that you kind of want to chat on, or, that you thought the direction may go that you want to kind of like, give your point of view on?
Um, yeah, and I think you kind of touched that uh, is how do we open the door to get business owners to be a bit more receptive. Um, But that's the hurdle I face is, how do I
Hmm.
get in front of a business owner? And then when I get in front of a business owner, there's a barrier that I got to get past because
Hmm.
that tenacity and that
Hmm.
confidence, sometimes they don't listen. I mean, they're not open. And I
Hmm.
think that's, I'm trying to get past that. Um, and then I think, yeah, if I could get more business owners to, I'm not trying to sell you anything, but it's,
Right.
let me come in there and I'll hand you it and go, okay, here's the things I think you do really well, and here's some
Hmm.
stuff that I think you could work on, and they just have to be open minded and go, okay,
Right. So that's
yeah,
kind of part of the process, and that's kind of it's just how they operate, right? Just they got an ego, they got this their thing. You're coming in to mess with my
yeah,
ship, so I do that.
yeah.
Do you feel that you're seeing enough people to be able to kind of break that barrier, or that would also be very helpful to be able to have more people in front of you that you can go have meetings with to get and give yourself a shot, right?
Yeah, that's my barrier. My thing is the pipeline. I need a stronger pipeline. So
Right.
that's, your close rate is, relatively low. And so you have to see a lot of people. So the pipeline's the biggest thing. And that's just
Right.
kind of, how do I get directly in front of owners, and
Right.
have this conversation. And also it's for other consultants too, is I'm not trying to take work from you. You know, I I,
Hmm.
I want to help and support you. And my work
Hmm.
helps and supports you because now that owner knows that they need that CFO or that tax person or whoever. It,
Right.
and it opens the door for it. Um,
Right.
and I think that's another really good point too, is consultants out there are trying to do everything,
Hmm.
and they really just need to stay in your lane.
Right. And
You're really good at financial stuff. Why are you trying to come in there and do operational stuff? Or why are you trying to do sales and marketing? The financial, that's your world. Um,
hmm
use your team.
right. And do you think it's for them a similar situation that, you know what, we need to expand what we do just because we're trying to make it, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It comes down to
yeah,
that. And
yeah. So
so,
anything they catch, they're trying to eat it.
got it. No, that makes sense to a certain degree. I mean, we don't know what all their books are and what their situation is. So it's like, yo, we'll just try to make the best of it, even though we may not do as well as, for example, you may do in a certain avenue, right?
Right, right. Yeah, and,
Got it.
and one of the other things that when I walk into a business, there's a couple things I look at, and one of those is I really look at the leadership team, because if you
Hmm.
don't have, you know, the owner's got to have vision, right? And they've got to have an
Hmm.
idea of where they're trying to go and how they're going to do it.
Hmm.
And so their system is the company. Well, if you have a leader of, say, quality, or a leader of the shop floor, that person has to have a bit of the aptitude and the vision to understand their segment of the business. They
Hmm.
have to know how all the pieces to go together, and they have to
Hmm.
kind of know, they have to have experience, and they have to know what has to happen to move it to the next level.
Hmm.
If those pieces aren't in place with your leadership team, you're not going to get anything done. So your leadership team's huge. So when you talk about consultants, the same thing applies. You
Hmm.
know, all of us consultants are sitting around a table with our areas of specialty.
Yes.
So it's the same thing. You're working together as a team to solve the problems of that company. Help them.
Right. 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 So I like your approach, and not everybody's there, but like your approach is what's best for the company as
Mhm.
opposed to obviously you need to get your piece of the pie and keep your business going, but like how can I deliver what is going to help them the most? And then
Yeah.
kind of hope the good from there is going to get me more as you progress, right?
Yeah. Well, and some of the other stuff too, is like, if the roof's not broken, why do we got to work on it?
Right.
So a lot of people come in there and go, "Hey, you need a new ERP system. You need a new accounting system.
Mm.
You need to do this and this and this." You're like, "Well, but they're working."
Right. So you've seen that in the industry as well, where they're just trying to find, and
You're
yeah, I've
selling.
seen it in my industry as well. They just kind of put something in to see if it doesn't do a thing at all to help the company, but they were able to suggest something or whatever,
Yeah.
right? So,
Well, they feel like, "Oh, you don't have the latest ERP system.
mm,
You don't have the latest accounting system. You need to upgrade and get off of Quicken. What is it? Quicken books when it's on your
right,
computer, and go to the
right,
online version." But you're like, "Okay, but you have good books. There's good numbers in there. The good books. You're
right,
getting stuff done.
right.
So maybe later on, but today it's working."
Mm,
So not pushing stuff that, I mean, if it's working, why don't mess with it? It's
right,
a problem.
right. Got it. Got
Yeah.
it. Oh, wow. So that's pretty insightful as far as kind of what you said. I love kind of your approach though. I mean, you're trying to do good work, build a good name for yourself and your company and such. We've pretty much come to our 30-minute time. I mean, we flew through this pretty good, huh? Look at that, man. Pretty
Man, yeah, you
impressive.
did.
Yeah, I'm just gonna ask you, like, do you have any, final thoughts before we kind of sign off on this podcast and, go on our merry ways for a bit? But, what kind of message you want to put out there to potential clients, fellow consultants? What do you want to kind of put out there for them?
Oh man, it's kind of going back to, we already talked about this. It's all about the
Mhm.
team.
Mhm.
So it's whether that leadership team is a group of people inside the company or it's a group of consultants. We just really need to stand behind and support each other. And, you know, we'll be so powerful if we use everybody's, if we create an environment where everybody's open and willing to participate and they're engaged, whether that's in the company or outside the company, we can do really some great stuff for these companies. Eh,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect. And so, yeah, on that note, that was a great finish to kind of our conversation. Thank you for your time, Brian. It was very insightful. I love kind of where you are in this part of the world. There's a lot of amazing things going on in that city. And thanks again, for your time, all right?
Oh, I appreciate
Good.
it. My
Thank
pleasure.
you. Excellent.